People will be laid off massively everywhere, which is unfortunate,
For
but
these people, gonna be hard to find new jobs. They just block chatgpt.com website.
what we should really focus on is the practical implementation of technology that will help businesses earn more money and people save more time. Welcome to today's episode. My name is Alex Shpak, and I am a CEO of AI-driven business called AI Horizon. And I'm here today with my co-founder, CTO, Alexey Manoilo, and we are going to dive deep into the realms of modern AI and its implementation across businesses in the United States and Canada. Hi, Alex.
Hello. So we could see in the Canada and US market right now switching from the crypto boom to new AI-driven solutions across all companies, from small to such big one as CABC or big healthcare providers. Nowadays, every company tried to add AI and its title to have more revenue and have like more sales.
Just to have more buzzy too, right? Like
Yeah,
everybody wants to hear like, oh, I have AI in my company.
Yeah, everybody wants it right now, but really it gives like boost of productivity of each separate employee of this company. So it's give real value. Like previously with crypto, it was some abstract part, people believe in it that it's gonna like what to do is like switch real money to something magic, but like real value was not like significant. But in AI, you can have like immediate saving of cost by increasing productivity of each separate individual. And because of that, like everybody wants to have an AI because it's like less people, more revenue, like more significant productivity, less mistake during the work.
So what do you think about the redistribution of resources in companies? Because, say, if a company implements AI in their business operations, right? So the eventual thing is that they will have to potentially lay off some people, right? Because it will be not relevant because AI can basically like implement the same things that people currently do, basically automate routine tasks, right? But how can we make sure that people are doing something that is still important in the company? For example, redistribute their efforts to something more creative, right? So how can we make sure that it's more streamlined in terms of uh, utilizing people's creativity?
Nice question, but we should like came back to the point of time. We don't see like huge construction healthcare company in Canada, as well as some consulting in terms of the financial. You can understand that a lot of people doing the same routine job each day, which can be automated. As really, it could be a lot of layoffs, so it could be a redistribution of the.
It's inevitable, right?
Yeah,
Like
so
people will be laid off massively everywhere, which is unfortunate, but we have to make sure that we utilize the people in the right positions as well.
yeah, but right now you could see that is layoffs happens not based on the AI, because they like redistribute people to hire somebody offshore, like in India or like in Eastern Europe. But in case if we're gonna have AI in place, we could do not do layoffs. We could like open new AI related positions. It's gonna replace a lot of people, but we're gonna have it's in Canada economy still like jobs opening a jobs position instead of the like business have to leave. It's like it's have to produce the same value. It's impossible. You have two options to lower your costs. You could like use technology or you could use offshores right now. And my hope Canada gonna use more like smart solutions to solve this problem.
So let's talk a little bit about how your business will differentiate from other businesses if you use AI. For example, we know of construction in general in Canada and the US, right? And we know that it takes forever to make decisions in construction. The logistics is undermined, and the subcontractors' management is not very effective. So, potentially, what kind of technologies can a business use to be better in terms of winning the competition with other businesses that have still the old ways, don't use AI, and still hope that they will be competitive on the market?
So I think the main problem in such kind of businesses in Canada is that to have any decision, you have to analyze a lot of protocols, have calls with a lot of people, read a lot of documentation, and it can be automated. It can be automated in the way if you're using even not huge like smart LLM models, if you're using like small language models which can do sum ups of the text, you can like use tons of documents, protocols, and over there automate some single processes and like massive process of the approval at all. Because if you make a decisions, you have to understand, for example, if I gonna approve this construction, it will be under some rules like Ontario rules and federal Ontario rules. And before this approval, you have to do like 20 calls with a lot of people to understand if it's okay or not. But you can just ask your internal AI tool. It's like, is it possible to build this like here new 40th level building? And based on the current regulations or and what you have to do to approve it, and internally based on your construction data, it's instead of like 2 months, it could be like half of the hour call and conversation with your internal AI assistant. So basically, like, yes, you have to invest some money in this process, but over the end, it's gonna be super fast to make some super hard decisions which used to be for you before.
And the companies that didn't take that leap and started using AI, what do you think? Like, what would you predict for such companies?
So it's like, oh, now they're thinking that it's like,
Like buzz, like, oh, it's like cryptocurrencies, like, oh, AI, this is not for me.
so I mean, like they could talk it right now, but after, like sometimes they're gonna realize that they can be competitive in this current market. Because if your competitor can do decisions in 3 days instead of like 3 months, and you can't, basically you're gonna spend much more money over the end. And decision making is quite important because Canada market is very competitive. If
And the US too,
yeah, yeah.
right?
I mean,
Like,
like,
it's the same kind of market, basically,
yeah.
right?
So if you will not use this technology, your competitor will use this technology. Offshore company who gonna came to Canada gonna use this technology over there. Like we just like. I hope Canada will go in the smart way. According government gonna approve this AI decisions because in another one case, Canada will not be competitor at all. So some in US like it's more widespread. If you have money and you want to improve something, you could have like some approval for regulations. Bad part about Canada, some like AI driven startups and some like construction regulations have to be approved by government as well. So if you're gonna have this approval, we're gonna have like nice improvement in our all fields across Canada.
One of the biggest industries in the US and Canada that can benefit from AI implementation is undeniably healthcare. Patients that come to doctors in Canada, for example, they have to wait for long periods of time. So AI can help with that, right? It can direct people to the right department. Also, in the US, for example, doctors cost a lot of money, right? So we can simplify this process and help the doctors make right decisions. Although in these industries I have mentioned, people are afraid of data breaches and are afraid to lose their data, right? So they do not allow developers even to use, for example, ChatGPT. What do you think about this?
So it's kind of like two questions in one. First, it's like AI, it's not a magic. We can't just do everything inside of the governmental regulations to solve such problems. But in the same way, we could do predictive analytics. We could understand based on the population, based on some government data, if government will like give an access or implement some internal AI tools to understand. So if we grow a population in Ontario and we have usual demand for some specific doctors, we could do predictive analytics based on the AI, how many doctors we gonna have, how many people with such disease gonna immigrate to a Canada or gonna be like in Canada in some predictable future. About second part, security. So sometimes it sounds like a joke. So, what's like big company like doing right now to restrict data leaks in AI because it's a serious problem? They just block ChatGPT.com website, and they like, okay, we're not gonna have data leaks, but I'm seeing people at big companies, they just like using their phones, take a picture, and asking the same like stuff as they could do like ChatGPT.com, you know, and over the end, they have a significant data leaks, especially development. Like developers could take a picture of some secure connection string, and it could be a leak of the data for such big healthcare providers right now. And some solution exists to do dedicated server for ChatGPT. It's not cost like a lot for big companies to do that, but they ignore the problem. They just do restricting of the links instead of doing like smart decision inside of their departments. We like helping such companies to understand what they need to do, but it have to be, educational programs inside of big corporation. What management should and should not do, as you have across like Canada's company, like especially and like fintech or healthcare, they have security lessons, how to answer to the spam messages during their emails or something, but they do not have anything about AI related part. And like I expect huge data leaks in this sphere. I expect huge loss of the data, accounts, and something else because it's new, but the hackers already know it. So you can like do a conversation with the ChatGPT or some different chatbots to like avoid filters and grab this information somehow. And nobody like have security layer of protection against it.
Do you know if OpenAI, for example, structures the data based on like the data that is inputted and they stored somewhere on which the large language model learns and then can drag data about a particular company, for example, from
So
it and sell to someone or something? I don't know.
So I'm not like I haven't been working in OpenAI, so but I could say that they could use some filters. They like as a developer, they like do some filters, do not do some violence. Like questions and answers or something else. But in some cases, they just like can't understand that it's secure data or not. Only your company responsible on something you type in ChatGPT. If you want to have some separate ChatGPT for your company and just have your own filters. You could use some possibilities which Azure, for example, provides. Azure AI, uh, in this case, you can deploy your custom ChatGPT model and your company, and you could say for your like old company stuff, like use this, do not use external one. And for example, block external one as they gonna use internal one because it's easy and it's not make sense for them to do data leaks or something like that. But I mean, it's a problem. It's a huge problem nowadays.
So a lot of people think that this is very expensive to implement AI in your company because such big companies as Meta, as OpenAI, and others are working on very significant models that require a lot of efforts and a lot of money. So, do you think that this is expensive to implement AI in your company?
I mean, first, nothing is free nowadays. So if you see something free, it's data leak. So if you have large company, it's much easier for you to dedicate costs for it. For example, you could buy your custom ChatGPT, as I said before. It's LLM models. They are like huge. They could cost like $4,000 per month just to host it. But even if your company is small, you could use some small language models to do some text analytics, summarization, like or some separate services in Azure, Google Cloud, or AWS AI to do some like video analytics, frame analytics, translation, for example. Huge problem in Canada is that half of population do not speak French, and your like website or all your products have to be bilingual because it's second official language.
Similar in the US, right? It's
Yeah.
Spanish too. So
It's not official right now, so
Spanish is official in the US.
so it's some
It is.
states like not federal level, but
No,
in yeah, in Canada in federal level it's official and you have to implement it. And you could use like Azure Translation AI service to do real-time translation. It's not it's gonna cost you for like a lot of money to do translation inside of your system, and it's gonna pass some governmental regulation, and you could operate in Montreal and Quebec province. It's gonna be like much easier for a business to like do something right there. Even you could do speech to text recognition and text to speech. You know, for example, if you do not speak French but you want to have some automated bot for your small company to start for French part of Canada, they can use it.
one of the fastest developing industries across the US and Canada is definitely self-driving vehicles. Tesla, Ford, and other companies are very quick in implementing the technology, especially Tesla, right? And now Tesla has the OpenAI backup of data as well, with a lot of things to drive the vehicles and drive the industry forward. What are your thoughts about the future of this technology?
So it's pretty understandable that across current market for like Canada and US self-driven vehicles, it's so much automate the process and regulations as well, because it's much, it's two problems in the like current market. First, Uber and Lyft is outside of government regulations. Second problem, hire like taxi official drivers. It's so expensive. You could say like it's price difference in 2 times and more. And AI could solve in case of you gonna do some automotive of the driving. You can use some technology pipelines to understand what is going wrong in the road. You could improve safety of your passengers, and you can like build internal money flows because your company gonna contain only engineers who gonna fix these vehicles itself, and some technology stack in cloud which gonna calculate the most convenient roads. It's not gonna be cancellations as we can see across the world. Then like drivers can understand I gonna cancel this one passenger and find out a different one, and you could be frustrated just basically waiting for so much time until your cab gonna arrive to you. It's gonna solve a lot of problems. It's under regulation right now. The problem it's not in technology. The problem is about regulations. So each individual province in Canada or state in the US have to approve that you can use this technology on some specific roads. And California, people like using it, they have some different problems, not in AI or technology, they have like people related problems. So, but over there, I think,
For example,
so some people do not agree with this like new technology as we have with the factory revolution in the 19th century. So they just like stopped these vehicles, they just like broke them, writing some like bad words on them, and just like they want to like stop technology evolution in California.
really,
So
wow.
so I expect it's gonna be the same stuff in Canada because it's the most like easy to find job right here, delivery and Uber. It's like like a lot of immigrants start from it, and it's gonna be like impossible in nearest future because like all profits gonna have like AI engineers and ML engineers inside of these companies and companies itself. So it's not gonna go like down. So it's gonna be a lot of unemployment in this sphere, and it's like for these people gonna be hard to find new job because it was like low level jobs without any like education required. You could do it, and like some people try to stop technology, but technology is unstoppable because it's people's evolution. So I mean, like we're gonna see a lot. Yeah, so I mean, like it's gonna solve a lot of problems with the traffic. I hope I gonna see 401 in Toronto one day without traffic jam because it's gonna be dedicated lines for vehicles who gonna use self-driving. So I really hope so, and it's gonna like push governments forward because it's gonna be less money to spend to build new roads because you have like less accidents, you know, like you could like see people more happy if they gonna go from Etobicoke to downtown like in 20 minutes instead of 1 hour. Everybody gonna say okay, it's probably gonna cut some job opportunities, but it's gonna save you time.
But we can repurpose them, right? To like jobs should be repurposed. People can do creative tasks. People can still operate and help AI to navigate and stuff, right? They can stay in the office and do that, and then rather like do some fun activity, some sport activity, instead of just driving and creating traffic jams all over every city in America, basically, right?
Yeah, I hope so. So we're gonna have like wonderful future soon, but it's kind of depends because Canada is conservative country. I mean, like you just like we haven't seen some improvements in some like dedicated sphere for a while. You don't know, like new like PR processing happens during like 6 months. It's really frustrating. It could be automated with AI, I think, as well.
There is a startup. There is a startup, and this founder we talked to, right, who works in finding out the time that is remaining for you to receive your permanent residency, right? But it's not the processes improvement. It's rather just monitoring and overseeing the processes from like a helicopter view. And they use predictive analytics to predict possibly when you're going to get your permanent resident card or your passport and so on and so forth, right? But what we should really focus on is the practical implementation of technology that will help businesses earn more money and people save more time, because this is the general trend of humanity, in my view, right? Like how humanity should develop in general. We should be more driven on doing creative tasks and being happy and fulfilled, rather than focus on very manual jobs that do not require to open up your personality and stuff like that. Because everybody, a person who's driving Uber, a person who's doing delivery, a person who is cleaning streets, and so on and so forth, they would rather employ their creativity to solve some interesting tasks, right? Instead of just doing routine manual work.
Yeah, so, but it's not a problems which we can particularly solve. I mean, we paying taxes for people who have to solve these problems.
Let's pay taxes for AI.
Yeah, so yeah, it's better than like, for example, like
And taxes are huge, right?
yeah,
like
and
this is
Turner,
like
yeah, so
53% now. If you have good revenue in Canada, in the US, it can be even more, I believe, in California, right? If you earn like a significant amount. Terrible.
And California is also like terrible about internal as well. I mean, but like we paying taxes to a government to rule, like something and do like some regulations. I hope they gonna use AI for this money to solve these problems. So, for example, if Ontario will like implement something or like federal government to analyze immigrations to understand high demand here, and is gonna be much more
Like the market demand, right? Like what kind of people does Canada or does the US need to become better, right?
yeah, better. These are like real time data and predictive analytics because they have a lot of data and they could use this data to make economy better, to understand if they need to build condos or something, what they need to do to like switch population from like Toronto base to to somewhere outside of Toronto, because and they could use AI in all spheres of government because governments have super important data, and if they gonna process this data, they could make Canada great again. So
And we're not going to eat dogs, eat cats, eat pets of the people. This is not
yeah,
going to
so
happen, right?
for sure. So like it's Americans, you know, like it's not Canadian stuff, you know, like you just can make your Canada like great, you know, affirmative and AI based country.
Truly, Canada has the highest rate of data-driven startups in the world, by the way. I don't know if you know. But yeah, this is a good base to start because there is a lot of data and it is structured, I believe. But how this data is processed is highly ineffective. So this is a problem, right?
And so I understand why they like afraid to do that. So because if you're gonna have like your SIN number in some like random ChatGPT stuff or internal AI,
True.
which gonna be opened for a public, and you know you're gonna see your credit score low at the next month, and nobody can answer like to you why. So I understand the concerns, but I mean, we are like paying taxes for somebody to solve these concerns. So it should not be a problem. It should be short-term delivery goals. I think for a government to do a better service across Canada with like tools which it can like use around. They also like using cloud technology. I hope like Azure, AWS, Google Cloud as we providing to our clients. So like if we can do it, so such large organizations as the government can do it as well.
So, Government of Canada, contact us, and we will help you to streamline the processes and make Canada great again. One of the big concerns that our company has been facing is how to streamline the supply chain and warehouse management because countries that we live in America are very driven by logistics, right? And especially how to find stuff in complex environments like big warehouses is a thing of concern. Um, can you tell something about practical examples that we've been facing and how have we solved them?
So we were like working with some small shipping company. So basically, their concern was they are not Amazon. They didn't have any like
Not yet, Amazon.
not yet Amazon. I mean, like they not yet Amazon at least, so they didn't have like good analytics of barcodes of their packages, and they did operation across not only Canada. They were working in some small like segments. They had a delivery from like Asian countries, for example, as well as inside of the Canada. And sometimes they had some difficulties with the barcodes because this could be something in Chinese, it could be something in Japanese. They can have some different structure. So we just did implementation of the AI to scan the barcode uh, as the first step. Then just we did analytics or text from it. Then we did translation from like everything to English. Then from this data, we just like did some manipulation. Some of barcodes, if they have like some standard structure, could be immediately reprinted to some like common Canada barcode style and put on the box. Some of them like of course need some people like after processing. But anyway, instead of you like get a box and like you put this box in code for like 2 weeks until you gonna understand like like something on this box in like in Japanese, Chinese, Vietnamese or something, and nobody can do anything with this box like during a long time. You have to like some system which like just like tell you or print new barcode and put it on it as like internal Canadian barcode, or make a decision what to do with like after data because it's not standard barcode. You have like before you had some huge problem, your like shipping was like delayed a lot, but right now you have some pipeline and like with the decision making steps, and it solve problem with without like a lot of codes because like API which we're using is like image recognition and translation inside of the Azure AI services, It costs not a lot. It's not LLM model. It's just like some specific AI, which like costing a SaaS solutions from like Azure, which can solve these problems and it's speed up like their like shipping process. And I hope they have much more customers, which like satisfied with their like shipping time right now.
True, and especially considering the delay times and just a lot of lost parts as well that they had, right? Like, because there is even a particular department where they hold things that were not shipped eventually because they were lost somehow and stuff. And this is a big problem in general. And also, this is a problem, by the way, in Canada airspace and um, plane system, right? That operates luggage. So this is a significant problem because I hear more and more that people keep losing their luggages. So this is something probably that can be implemented here as well, right? Like um, some airports and the companies that integrate with the airports, like Air Canada and other companies, they could have
So
something
probably
like that, right?
it's not such problem as with the shipping because they have like some standard barcodes, but they could have like predictive analytics with a load. So they could understand based, like 5 year strategy based on like 5 years data before what could be or like June and their airport. So if they can understand that it's gonna be demand for something, just like for people at least who gonna like put this baggage in and out, they could like hire some more like seasonal people to work in the airport during this time.
It
And
can be automated too, right? Like just AI can make decision based on where particular luggages go, right? Like it can be a self-driven vehicle and it just picks up luggage and it delivers it straight to the plane, and then another vehicle unloads this at the other airport,
it
right?
could be some robotics part, as you said, as like Amazon warehouses do with their AI,
Yeah,
but it's
true,
more
true.
advanced. But I mean, like for such huge airports in Canada and US, it could be done. So I think it's already in process, and somebody gonna do these services to make our lives easier than it's we have right now. Because like Canada and US have huge demands for airports, and I mean, like, I hope they're gonna automate this process as well.
We know that a lot of companies in the US and in Canada are very technology driven. For example, even Apple, they have implemented voice recognition in their customer service, right? So when you call Apple, just AI answers to you and you go through a lot of steps. Yeah, it's a little bit, like boggy and stuff, and it takes time to get to what you need, but this is a good first step. But if a company, say, doesn't have resources like Apple, or they do not have the technical expertise, what do you think would be a solution for such a company to implement AI in their systems?
So they have like two ways actually. So or they gonna have like recruiting process during some time and find out the people like to work with them.
To
Uh,
build an AI
to be
department, right?
a
Which
department.
takes a lot of time
Yeah,
usually,
but
right?
you could lose momentum in this case. I mean, you should find out like people who already know what to do actually on the market. So, and like it's not a kind of popular part for like some corporation before because like when you're doing software department, we have to hire these people like and build like internal pipelines and something. But with the new like waves of technology, sometimes it's quite important to like get this momentum and get like up to speed. And sometimes it's like it's going to like outsourcing expertise. So and this way a lot of companies ask us like can we help with that. So in our answer is yes. And like the most important part, like we have like some delivery phases. So we start with like pre-consultation to understand like actual business problems, what they need to solve. We're doing some implementation phase when we actually solve this problem, and we have like post-production phase, like when we talking and supporting these actual solutions over the market. So we like providing real value, not just something which you can say like we're using AI and just like have more revenue. You could have like of course more revenue if you're using AI nowadays, and the same you could have like some real value. Uh, in this case, like it's better because sometimes I see a lot of corporation just hire random people or promoting inside of the departments. They basically do not understand the security aspects. They do not understand some main ML principles,
They
or
don't have expertise,
they do
right?
not have expertise. They have to learn it, and it could take like some years, and they could do a mistakes. Because
And also they have the old ways of operation as well.
yeah, it's
So if you have a consultant, for example, the consultant has the new ways of operation because they consult a lot of various businesses and they learn from various businesses, right? Comparing to if you are stuck to your company's processes, and especially if you have a very tough security officer or security office that restricts everything, it's very difficult to navigate the right way through these restrictions, and it will take forever, right?
yeah. So sometimes like doing some offshore resources is better because they usually it could be some concerns, of course, between your internal and external teams, but it's much, like it's gonna be some swift to the new way, like it's gonna be shift or something.
And we educate them,
Yeah,
right?
we
Like we
educate them because like if your internal team probably be like scary to have like concerns with like being guys in security department or something because they don't really like they do not sure they gonna have
they're
like
afraid to lose their
they're
job
afraid
too,
they gotta have
right?
like direct questions. Will we have like security leak inside of the department? And like of course everybody say like we don't want to have security leak. We were discussed before that they actually have it right now because they like do a photo of their like code and their own devices and like doing like the usual ChatGPT
True,
analytics.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
Everywhere.
they
This
gonna
happens
afraid,
everywhere.
like yes, this happens everywhere. But they gonna afraid, we are not afraid because we have like, expertise in this, so we could provide some,
And we take responsibility, right?
yeah, we take some responsibility because like actually we not like our company takes responsibility. We are using some resources which are already secure. So we could say that we like using Azure and it's already has like some internal infrastructure which like already secure and we can reuse it for our customers. We like do not we in like 99 cases we propose not like some custom solutions because we know that we could have security leaks. We propose something which we already like implemented for some different like spheres, like clients, providers. I mean, and over the end, we are sure that this technology stack like responsible for providing the best security high level like service for our customers.
So no security breaches with us.
So yeah, so I could like so I could say like it's like 99 point like 39s, so it's not gonna be any
Good
security issue.
probability.
Yeah, but actually in real companies like 50-50 right now if you do not have expertise. So
True.
so it's like and it's like flipping the coin with implementing AI is like it's crazy.
True, and I think the general regulations. So, for example, we worked with financial companies that have general regulations all across the world, and they just do not keep up with AI because a lot of data can be still leaked without the company knowing anyway. If again you take a picture, right, of some data and you need this data to analyze, for example, your client's portfolio in investment business, right? But the numbers of the client are available, and some other companies then can make decisions to buy these or that type of stocks to decrease the value of the other company, right? So
So data leaks like it's very bad, like you should avoid it during your implementation. And I understand the concerns which company has, like because you could be like multi-billion company and lose half of your like AR with the wrong
because of
decision.
one data leak, right?
Yeah, by data leak. Yeah.
Well, with us, it won't happen. So
Yeah, for sure.
I believe that artificial intelligence is here to stay and to stay for a long time. And if you are a business inside the US or Canada or everywhere in the world, adopting AI for you is a must. It's not an option, right? So it's my pleasure today to have you and see you soon.
Thank you for having me. It was also a pleasure for me to talk about our nearest future in Canada and US.